How to establish what we may call a clearer perspective on things, accuracy in perception, a sound BS detector. Because, you may be quite surprised how some people are so instinctively sharp when it comes to bullshit, and they see it, smell it, don't want to know about it. And whilst you've got others that are just taking an inch for a mile, and they run themselves out to the point where they've tied themselves up in a knot and they've hung themselves. And there's many different angles. Listen, like, we're talking about self-help here, and everyone wants to focus on integrity, credibility, self-respect, love, compassion, joy, all the rest of it. But that's focusing on the potential balance between the forces. As we have a chasm between the dark land and the lightness of benevolent opportunity and possibility coming into existence right now, if we don't have a sound BS detector, it's very, very easy to get shot in the foot and sent down another path which goes nowhere quick smart. So it's like, what tool is available to us with exterior circumstances but also interior, because there's, fortunately, our own living on Earth at the moment is like a cockroach plague spiritually. Or it's like a permanent summer in the tropics where you've always got mosquitoes. So if you are not constantly vigilant with your spiritual protection, you've got this plaguing you through your energy as well. So in the same way that you have like mosquito repellent, and you have, we call it like those lamps that you put outside the house, and you've also got the bug zappers and all these other things just so that you don't get bitten at night. I don't care who you are or what you do, but learning not only to cleave to Jesus Christ is of utmost importance right now. Forget religion. Forget all that garbage. The name of Jesus Christ is the most powerful tool available to you. That and prayer. Father, through Jesus Christ, if it was within your grace, please bless, protect, love, give grace to whatever, this group, individual thing, whatever. Very, very, very basic prayer. Rightio, let's forget that and come back to what is important though. It's hard to separate the wheat from the chaff in our own life if we do not have a sound BS detector. And a sound BS detector needs to call the bullshit quick smart. Because what you'll start to recognize about what you might call us light workers, us warriors of Christ, is we're rough. Which is alright. But we haven't come here to bring peace. We've come here to bring about the great division, to separate the wheat from the chaff through a very, very, very simple process. Compulsive lying is the problem. With compulsive lying, you've then got force feeding and you've got overselling. And the problem you've got between the chasm of the darkness and the lightness of what's coming in with higher frequencies is the more real you get to heal, the greater accuracy in perception that you have, the better choices that you make, the more you begin to integrate, and the more blessed your life becomes. You receive the good life, and the good life is not based upon, am I a billionaire or a trillionaire? No. You'll begin to recognize that we've all got a price in our head. And what do I mean by a price in our head? We all have basic needs that we need to have met, and with that we will find ourselves in a situation where all of our needs aren't just met, they've gone over and beyond, and we end up with absolutely everything that we need. For who we are, for what our blood is, for what we represent, what our skill set is, and what we stand for in life. Very, very, very comfortable life with minimal pressure. Back to compulsive lying though. So the issue is compulsive liars that try to force feed you their bullshit, and they try to oversell a story. And so evidently the oversell is to protect the force feeder. The force feeder is pride. And where self-respect disappears, and this is a force feeder's job, the force feeder is trying to strip you or someone else of self-respect. So if it can strip the self-respect out of you and get you to become prideful, see, if you want to have a look at things like, for example, power versus force, David Hawkins' great energy spectrum, and we see that the consciousness of humanity is sitting at pride right now, and it's trying to push, but it can't quite get there because courage is needed. But courage is needed because if we have a look at the spectrum of duality and come to recognize that the Joker in that deck is pride. And why is the Joker in that deck pride? Because the great fall came when we stopped asking the question, what would a self-respecting individual do now? And so the more and more that we stopped asking, what would a self-respecting individual do right now, we started to become gluttons for punishment. And beyond gluttons for punishment, we either received the punishment and we thought that accepting mediocrity, constant suffering, and the endurance of bullshit as a normal state of existence, we thought waking up with a headache and a sick stomach was normal. It's not acceptable, and it is not normal. So if at least you've got a conscience, you might start to wake up to the fact that bullshit is not normal. You've got at least some direction to go. But we want to... So this is for those of you who have gone, I think there's bullshit, because I want to help you to understand what the bullshit is. You need to understand those that are spilling the bullshit. Compulsive liars. It's a bit like obsessive compulsive disorder. They have an obsessive compulsion to talk shit. They eat shit, breathe shit, sleep shit, fight, fuck, fart shit. Shit. That's their existence, because what's happened is they've lost all self-respect, not just for themselves, but then for everyone else. And because they have no respect, they have no inner control, remote control, they're remotely controlled by greater forces, essentially what you may call a fucking socialist agenda, but we don't need to go into that for now. Self-autonomy is not existing within these individuals, and they believe that they are strong, but what's going on is there's no courage there. They are functioning with pride, and they are making their aggressive decisions from fear, because the long and short of it is, they're fucking scared. Why are they scared? Because there's nothing more powerful than a self-respecting individual making choices from integrity. So their job is to keep you busy. Their job is to keep the lie running. Their job is to compulsively keep doing it, because they know full well, be that consciously or on a subconscious level, the moment that they get their bullshit call, they've got a big pile of shit they've got to face and come to terms with, that they may have caused that shit and they're responsible for cleaning that mess up. So, compulsive lying, it can come from childhood trauma where an individual recognises that if they lie, they're not going to get hurt. So we're always going back to pleasure and pain and basic traumas. And also that could be generational, it could be cursed into blood. There's many reasons for why someone talks shit, but it's shit talking that's the problem. Now, when someone wants to force feed you the shit that they talk, it's because they want to have a sense of control over an exterior environment because they don't have internal control. That's all right. That internal control, that can also, be fully recognised within physical disability, physical ailment, or it could actually be seen through addictions, etc. But when an individual has that much of a lack of control that they're looking to control their surroundings through force-feeding bullshit from a compulsive lie, and when they recognise that the force-feeded bullshit from the compulsive lie isn't enough, they'll start to oversell it. And what is overselling? The fucking victim story. And the victim story will then try and create the birds of a feather, which is even more shit and vomit and piss in the pond that they're swimming in, to go, oh, woe is me, life's fucking terrible, or it's great, or whatever, or if you don't listen to me, if you don't do this to me. So they end up with like an indignant sense of entitlement. And that indignant sense of entitlement comes from overselling the bullshit. and it's the oversell. It's kind of like, and this is where your bullshit detector starts to come in. So imagine someone's come to you and they said, I'm just giving you a basic example here. They've gone, I just ate the best hot chips and gravy in all of the city. And so you're running off expectations almost, because you took this individual for their word. And then, so they take you to this place one day, and then you get a feed of this chips and gravy, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, not only is this shit, but the place is shit and everything about it's shit. How are they deemed to be the best? Now, I know that truth is circumstantial and there could be many variable reasons. Like, for example, that individual could have been getting a cut from that business to try and sell those chips and gravy off to the rest of the country. But we now see the issue, the oversell. The oversell comes from many issues. If someone genuinely believes in bullshit, that's their blessing or their curse. It doesn't really matter. It's just who they are. But typically, there is an ulterior motive sitting underneath the oversell. So with the oversell, we start to recognize that the greater issue with personality-less people is because, denial and despair and hopelessness is such a major part of life at present. The personality of individuals has disappeared, and the higher powers that be do not want you to know this stuff here, but they knew full well how to strip the dignity out of an individual. It's called make them believe you must be rich, beautiful, powerful, a rock star essentially, to be valued. And if you don't have that, you're a worthless piece of junk. So then what happens all of a sudden is the only conversation an individual can have with you really is their roles and responsibilities at the work that they're trying to do to make money, to try and fit in because they need to keep up with the Joneses. The roles and responsibility script. Or unfortunately, it feels like most individuals that you speak to nowadays are just script runners, like that movie Jumanji. And that's not trying to be rude, it's just trying to state and call out a self-evident issue. The sense of security and significance within the personality of the individual is destroyed at present. And we sort of come back to it though. We recognize that it's from the oversell, it's from trying to figure out how to make a living. There's that. It's this dominant, submissive, passive, aggressive, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm big, you're small. It's the year 2021. I can't fucking believe that we're so brain dead. I don't think I am. But this is just an observation, not by being judgmental, but trying to call it for what it is so that another can recognise what the fuck's going on. So, the sheep is not the problem, the people aren't the problem, the person is suffering from the bullshit they swallowed. So the bullshit that got swallowed came back down to the 3 steps of mediocrity: compulsive lying, force feeding, overselling. These individuals that compulsively lie, force feed and oversell, whether it be, authoritative representatives, business owners, psychopathic individuals, whatever you want to call it doesn't matter. There's your problem. And the chasm, the split between light and dark is getting wider. And it's a choice that we get to make. But even with that split, remember, light sits beneath that darkness. So, when we come back to it, if you have found yourself in a reality where you have been force-fed bullshit by a compulsive liar that's trying to oversell something, it's either because they haven't... There is always an agenda, but let's sort of move away from that. You just need to remember those 3s. The 5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dodge, dive, and duck. Remember the 3 Bs of bullshit. No, they're not Bs, but you may be suffering with an overseller, a force feeder, and a compulsive liar. And that's what's called a bullshit artist. So if you're suffering from a bullshit artist and it's starting to make your life feel pretty fucking ordinary, The key to start making better choices is to remember your sovereignty and free will to make your own choices. This is the great concern that I've got with our country's authorities. They want to tell you that it is mandatory to vote. That's where it all went downhill for us. Through that mandatory to vote, what they can do is, by saying that it's mandatory, is compulsively lie, force feed, and oversell. Where until you get rid of mandatory bullshit, you can't have fairness and justice. So this isn't me being unreasonable, constantly fucking chipping away at the bullshit angle. This is me being quite fair to the fact that there's a collapse coming. And when it does, there's your problem right there. Bullshit artists. So you either want to get caught up in the world of the bullshit artist, or you want to get caught up in the world of Christ. I know which one I've chosen, and I'll die by the sword of it, but it's quite a lovely life. And when we actually work with a higher power that loves us benevolently, life becomes a joy for us instead of a constant struggle because of this mediocre bullshit that is daily getting thrown in our face to try and tell us we are not enough. So when I say this with genuine loving kindness, in Jesus Christ's name, may you be blessed and may your family receive a great blessing of love. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.